Member of Community Futures in the 80s. I represented the Labour Council. We had a conference in Whitehorse in the Yukon. We had the referees of Free Trade for North America there. The opening day of the conference, their comments were that the first comments, the most ignorant people were the people who belonged to the NDP party. That really got my attention. And then about 2 minutes later he says, but there's more ignorant people, and those people are the people in the union movement. I kicked my chair right out in front of me, and I went after this guy who was the head referee for Canada. I said, one of the reasons that Labour is dead against free trade is because of the lumber issue. I said, you had that lumber issue on as far as free trade between Canada and the United States. I said, you took it off because Reagan put so much pressure on you, and the Conservative government at the time agreed with it. Now we see what mess we're in today, not only throughout the world, but in North America, but especially in our community, to do with free trade. I don't think we've had such a downturn in the industry since the history of Port Alberni came about because of free trade. So it affects every one of us. And I'm glad to see the Council of Canadians, who Maud Barlow, when she first started, I bet she never thought it would be a large organization as it is today. We couldn't get a better spokesperson than her, and I just congratulate you. It means that democracy is still in action, even in Port Alberni. Thank you.
Free traders of all the Americas, with a public inform or debate, secret rules made to sue as they woo us, assure us globalization's our fate. Free trade says that the world runs on money. All of us are just pawns in the game. This old scam is fulfilling the big banks. Deregulation and profits their aim.
What's with deregulation?
Yes, how does it affect our health care?
No protection.
How about education?
No protection.
You got any Coke bottles? Anyway, we're supposed to hold up a Coke bottle. Coke and other corporations want to own our schools and universities. No protection.
How about energy?
Yes, California and Alberta already know what happens when there's no protection.
What about environmental laws?
Sure.
Protection for corporations so they don't have to follow the laws. Oh, the FTA is a trade deal where no tariffs will bar market doors. Goods and services all on the table. Corporate interest, but not mine and yours. Oh, the world that we want is of laughter, is a freedom that's fair for us all. Where employment, our health and education, homes and food will sustain earth and all. To work this morning, I was listening to CBC, and they had good old what's his name, singing Bob Dylan singing the times they are a changin'. And he was talking in that song about how we're gonna speak to our representatives, we're gonna speak to our senators and our MPs, and we're gonna speak to everybody that represents us, and we're gonna demonstrate in the streets. And things are not going to be the same anymore because we're going to have to be listened to. And then I heard George Bush on the radio this morning, and you know what his quote was? I just couldn't believe it. He says, he had just arrived in Quebec City and just got off the plane, and he says, we are going to apply the power of the markets to the needs of the poor. And I thought, oh my God. Anyway, so we've all got a job to do, and let's get out there and do it. Keep the faith and speak out loudly. And think about those people in Quebec City. I was on the phone this morning at 6:45. I had an email message that there was going to be a person out there that I know who had a cell phone. So I phoned her up, and she had her answering machine on. I left her a message, and I said, we're going to be protesting in Port Alberni today, and we're going to be thinking about you guys in Quebec City all weekend long. So that's the spirit. This is moving across the country and across the world.
Okay, come on, Jack.
Just a quick word about the very extreme security measures now being used in Quebec City. This is unprecedented. Even the War Measures Act was not such a restriction on human rights and civil rights and democratic rights. We have a chain-link fence of 3 meters high and about 3 kilometers long that's separating out the negotiators and their convention halls from the people on the streets, the people who are protesting. We want this kind of security measures to be absolutely abominable in our society. There is no reason why, with the small threat of violence, there were just 1 or 2 plate glass windows broken in Seattle amongst that whole 50,000 people. We think that the need for the people to be there protesting against the people who are making these decisions is a human and civil right that we should not infringe upon. So this is one of our biggest obstacles in maintaining civil rights in this country, is the fact that these kinds of barriers are being put between the people themselves and the people who are supposedly negotiating on our behalf. Thank you.
I opened an email this morning. The CCPA, the Canadian Center for Policy Alternatives, has activated a new website. It's called www.rabble.ca, and it has links to other websites so you can find out what's actually happening. We all know we can't rely on media, so that's one way to find out what's going on today.
And there's another exciting website I just discovered last night. It's actually where I got the play. It's really easy to remember. www.stopftaa.org. Okay, and it's really excellent. They're going to have reports coming in from people behind the lines all weekend.
I don't know why they picked me to say anything to you, but maybe it's because I'm a veteran. I was with the Canadian Scottish Regiment. I saw action in the Second World War, and I used to be real patriotic. We used to use Parliament to come to decisions. This was the accepted way of a free people. Today, a handful of multinationals are dictating to us. They're making the rules, and you'll all buckle under or else. I never thought I'd see a fence in Canada. Berlin, yes, but Quebec City, no way. Basically, the message is simple. We want fair trade, not free trade.
Right on!